Shea Moisture, Miel Organic, TGIN, Wild Growth Hair Oil, The Many Choice, Carol's Daughter.
6:30 bar studio clock, 6:30 in all 10 regions of the country. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your attention. You're watching the 6:30 Prime News on My Media Prime Live from Douala. My name is BLANCHE Peldrine King. Candidates of the 2021 edition of the General Certificate of Education JCE examinations answered present today at their various centers to mark the start of the written session or the written examinations or the written part of the JCE examinations. And in Douala, reporter Nolinga visited some centers where she talked to some students and recorded the following.
After a month of postponement from the usual May 29th set date, the written part of the 2020-2021 General Certificate of Education GCE begins today age-free in most of the examination centers visited earlier today here in the nation's economic capital, Douala. At the government bilingual high school, BABEY, the atmosphere was calm and serene, with no visitors permitted into campus to enable a conducive writing environment. Here at the Now Writing Center, students could still be spotted cutting the T's and dotting their I's before heading to their various examination halls. Though the administrative officials won't comply to speak on camera, many have confessed that there have been no absences recorded this year in this center, insinuating an effective start of the exams.
The exam was successful on my side. All what I read and saw on the paper, and God helped me, and was successful.
Talking about the precautions taken to ensure the children's safety, it was also observed that all hygiene and sanitary measures had been established even before now for both the examiners and the students to respect in compliance to anti-COVID-19 barrier measures. As an accommodation center harboring all the schools, the exams began this morning at exactly 8 a.m. with Economics Paper 1 for the ordinary level, Geology Paper 1 for advanced level, and Economics Paper 1 for the same level.
Normally we receive the students 1 hour before time to get them seated comfortably because this is a very large center.
Meanwhile, during the afternoon session, Economics Paper 2 for the ordinary levels and Geology Paper 2 and Economics Paper 2 for the advanced levels have all been written. The exams, which have started hitch-free in most of these centers visited, are due to run from now to the 12th of July this year.
Pupils of Class 6 across the country equally brave the odds to sit in for the first school living certificates today, Tuesday, June 29, 2021. My Media Prime TV visited some centers and to have a feel of the general atmosphere this year, especially in the context of a health crisis. Details in the following report. These are faces of soon-to-be college students. Enthusiasm and determination as they take on the first school living certificates. For the second year, candidates are writing examinations in the context of a health crisis. Cameroon is currently battling the second wave of COVID-19 with over 80,000 positive cases. Now more than ever, anti-COVID-19 measures have been emphasized to curb the growing figures. Academic institutions hosting students for the first school living certificate have adopted measures to this effect.
Tous les enfants sont avec les masques. Oui. Aujourd'hui, ils sont lavés les mains quand ils étaient en...
All the students are with their nose mask. They wash their hands before entering the classrooms. We also have available hand sanitizers in front of us. All is well here at Catherine Lay Sub-Center.
According to the chief of center, the 2021 session of the examination is promising. The candidates are positive and await feedback for their next academic journey. We stay in Douala, the littoral region, to still talk about first school living certificates. Centers and sub-centers involved in this year's edition of the first school living certificate have recorded varying figures with few absences as compared to last year. Join TATA Content for statistics in the French language.
Jeudi, jour de l'examen, le first school living certificate est le 7 en cours du téléchargement. Premier arrêt, Katinozori en primary school, un sous-centre d'examen dans l'arrondissement de Douala 5e. Il est environ 11 heures, passé de quelques minutes, les places sont calmes, il n'y a que quelques surveillants qui sionnent dans les couloirs pour traquer les éventuels tricheurs. Dans la salle, concentration oblige, les candidats sont face à leur destin. L'épreuve en cours, c'est la mathématique, qui semble être abordable. Voici les statistiques.
Les candidats inscrits, 528. Les candidats présents sont 524. Donc il y a 4 absents. Et tous les membres des surveillants sont là, sont présents. 23 en nombre et en total. Et les membres du secrétariat aussi, comme vous voyez. Donc tout marche bien.
Les épreuves du matin, telles que la mathématique Paper 1 en tout, English Language, se sont bien déroulées. Demain, ce sera le tour des épreuves françaises. Par ailleurs, au sous-centre de Bonamoussadi EPA, 761 candidats sont enregistrés, dont 354 garçons et 407 filles. Sont présents au total 753 et 8 absents ont été signalés. Voici le résumé des épreuves de cette première journée.
À la première heure, dès 8 heures, nous avons passé la première épreuve, la dictée écrition, après la production d'écrit et le calcul rapide. Maintenant, nous sommes en train de passer les problèmes.
Demain, ce sera l'apothéose de cet examen. Les différentes matières de clôture sont notamment l'épreuve d'anglais, les sciences, l'EPS sur écrite et les épreuves orales. Pour l'instant, l'on ne peut que dire bonne chance aux candidats.
Joseph Chebonken Kalabopsi has officially been installed President of the National Communication Council. He was installed today during a ceremony heavily attended by government officials and a representative of President Paul Biya. Let's now get an excerpt from the new President of the National Communication Council, Joseph Chebonken Kalabopsi.
I think we will educate, we will cajole, we will sanction if need be, because this is an honorable profession, that of journalism. We inform, educate, and entertain. We have to do that with the social responsibility, which is that of the press. And if the press does just what it's supposed to do, I think we will get Cambodians on the same foot like that of the state. And if we have to educate, we have to do that with all humility, knowing that we have been trained to do that. The other day, a colleague was weeping on the air because he made a mistake. It's unacceptable. The press has a social responsibility. And when you have the microphone in front of you or the pen, you know that people follow you because you have been trained to gather, treat, and disseminate information. But if it climbs on your head that you are a star, then the law will come down on you.
Stay tuned to My Major Prime as we bring you developments or updates as concerns the new era and the press. Members of Parliament have, amongst other worries, discussed frequent power cuts and inadequate water supply across the 10 regions of the country. Minister of Water and Energy Supply, Gaston Lundu, was speaking yesterday in Parliament during a special plenary session. Audrey Zatza tells us more.
Plus de 30 députés sont montés à la tribune hier à l'Assemblée nationale afin d'interroger le ministre de l'Eau et de l'Énergie, Gaston Lundu, sur ce qui ne va pas pour un pays qui travaille à une économie émergente
et qui fait toujours face à des pénuries d'approvisionnement en eau et en énergie. Le président de la Chambre, l'honorable Kavaye Djibril, président de la session, a débuté déclarant l'électricité comme étant l'épine dorsale de toute économie en croissance. Les inquiétudes des députés étaient axées sur le pourquoi des sommes élevées des factures d'électricité et d'eau à la fin du mois malgré l'approvisionnement très peu fiable de l'eau et de l'énergie. Pourquoi un approvisionnement pauvre en électricité dans les régions de l'extrême nord et le pourquoi de nombreux transformateurs alimentant le nord-ouest en électricité sont défectueux. Le ministre, pour sa part, a rassuré les populations.
La volonté du gouvernement, c'est de faire désormais du Cameroun un seul et unique réseau. Les financements sont désormais disponibles. Nous pensons donc que les populations devraient davantage faire confiance au gouvernement.
Cette séance spéciale se tient au moment où le pays est confronté à une pénurie d'approvisionnement en eau et en énergie dans les ménages, malgré les efforts indéniables déployés par le gouvernement pour assurer la stabilité.
A team from the Cameroon Association of English-Speaking Journalists, Kamasej Literary Chapter, visited my Major Prime Studios yesterday. The aim of this visit was to preach the idea of unity and the need to belong, especially at a time when the press in Cameroon is going through or facing a lot of difficulties. Eileen Sama compiled the following report.
The representatives of the newly installed executive of the literary chapter of the Cameroon Association of English-Speaking Journalists, Kamasej, on their maiden visit to My Media Prime TV, spelled out clearly the raison d'etre of their coming, that of encouraging the dynamic team of journalists at My Media Prime Television to all belong to the association and also benefit the advantages that comes with that. The august guests were speaking in the presence of the managing director of My Media Prime TV, Mr. Leonard, who welcomed the president, D. Morin, her vice, Smart Jikang Gabriel, and the social secretary, Fon Rene, with warmth. D. Morin urged the My Media Prime team of smart journalists to join the association so as to contribute their quota for the growth of the association.
We took out and sacrificed time to come and tell you guys that we can't work if you're not there. We can't work if you're not part of the association. The association is for you and not for me. Tomorrow, I'm really be so that the younger generation will come on board. Together, we build something we cannot build.
She went further to highlight the importance of belonging to the association as a pressman or woman and the benefits that come with that.
Each meeting or every meeting, we have a professional who comes into my life on particular team. Last meeting, we have a professional who talks about integrity and how we can certainly upgrade as a journalist. This time around, they're having another guest. It could be a lawyer, it could be a customer expert, it could be anybody at least that's visionary. And give us some added value onto something. That's what is important. We're struggling to see how we as journalists can source for ourselves. Because it's not only relying on what we have. Because people have I am on Canada, salary is on today. But now when the salary is today, what do you do? We need it. And all we need is source as journalists. That's why we think out of our boxes. What do we have this problem? If the United Nations wants to recruit, I will have the information. It's among us first time. You choose the best people, say, okay, you're ready to go. I was like, I don't want to.
A significant highlight of the meeting between the representatives of Kamasej Literary Chapter and My Media Prime TV crew of journalists was a symbolic gesture from Mr. Leonard to the august guests when he offered them a gift of a notepad, pens, and a mug bearing My Media Prime's logo, while encouraging them to run the association plagued with challenges like any other professional group assiduously.
You're watching the 6:30 edition of Prime News on My Major Prime. Some pupils and adults affected by the ongoing socio-political crisis in the southwest region have undergone psychological and skill acquisition training offered by a non-governmental organization in Boya. This training is aimed at boosting the esteem of this group of persons to enable them incorporate themselves into the society, especially as they find themselves in new communities. Echo Clarice in the following report.
These are some IDP pupils from this rehabilitation center based in My 16 Boya taking their pledges after several months of training and skills acquisition from this center. This was during the graduation ceremony of the third batch of pupils from this center.
Rehabilitation tomorrow. It's a civil society organization which was founded in 2018. And the whole background of this organization was to cater for people who never had the opportunity to be somewhere and have education like the others. They are not just working with just the children, we are equally working with adults. Those who have psychosocial problems, we rehabilitate them. Those who have difficulties, we equally do humanitarian activities.
Given the numerous threats posed by separatists on the education sector, the functioning of this rehabilitation center found in My 16 Boya, one of the crisis-affected areas in the southwest region, has not been without challenges, coupled with the problem of accommodation space for the growing number of pupils and adult learners who have enrolled in this center.
Last year that we started, we faced many challenges. We had no toilet in the center. The classrooms were too compressed.
Despite the challenges faced, some level of successes was attained.
Some, as we speak, are doing car body repair, what is commonly known as panabiting. Others are in mechanic garage. Others are doing tailoring. Others are doing petty trading, because we equally supported some people with some little finance so that they too could start up their lives.
Very, very satisfied because the pupils
which took place here in Douala. This was during the 4th edition of the Shima Live Audience Show, which took place over the weekend. The winner was awarded a cash prize of 1 million francs CFA, as our reporter Dalingonde tells us.
This is the 4th edition of the Shelma Live Audience Show, which has brought together the most seasoned international business coaches, a live audience, and a handful of contesting young entrepreneurs who have come from far and near to pitch up their current businesses in front of the judges, as one of them stands a chance of going home with a token of 1 million francs CFA. Munja Shelley Manjo is the host of the Shelma Show.
The main aim of the Shelma Show is actually to encourage investors to invest home, to assist startups, and to motivate youth.
Before pitching their business ideas, the young entrepreneurs were also drilled on topics such as commitment and discipline, leadership in entrepreneurship, skills needed to create sustainable businesses, and also the need for them to step out of their comfort zones, as the coaches spoke in turns.
We have a lot of challenges, but to be consistent and supporting entrepreneurs nationwide is quite commendable.
Me, it's a very good experience that I've made here.
The Shelma Show is actually something that resonates with me because I'm very passionate about startups, investing, venture capital, and all of that.
While demonstrating their know-how on the importance of taxation, employee management, and entrepreneurial ethics, the contestants were further given the opportunity to showcase their various businesses as they pitched to suit the judges' comments. And to these fellows, the 4th edition of the Shelma Show has been epic.
I am the founder of Kinam Nyang Liquid Soap and Hand Wash. This has been a great experience, I can say, and it means a lot to me.
I am the founder of Mama B's Care Soya Beans. I had to pitch my business idea in front of investors, and for the Shelma Show, they are able to assist me with an amount of 1 million francs to plow back into my business and to make it grow bigger.
And following the judge's verdict, Mary, the young entrepreneur, has been declared winner of the 4th edition of the Shelma Show, as she walked away with a 1 million francs CFA check to take her business to the next level. With the next edition scheduled in 4 months, the Shelma Show is here to give startups a new and greater facelift.
Out of the country, South Africa's Constitutional Court has sentenced former President Jacob Zuma to 15 months in prison. The court, in a majority ruling this morning, found Jacob Zuma guilty of contempt for failing to comply with the court on corruption charges against him. This and more with Fonquinta.
In what's making news in the African continent today, we begin in South Africa, where the Constitutional Court has sentenced former President Jacob Zuma to 15 months in prison. The court, in a majority ruling this morning, found Mr. Zuma guilty of contempt for failing to comply with the ruling of the court to appear before a panel that was investigating corruption allegations against him, though he denies involvement in a number of graft scandals. It should be recalled that he was ousted in 2018 over allegations of mismanagement and systematic corruption. Meanwhile, Ethiopia's government has declared a unilateral ceasefire in its northern Tigray region after rebel fighters claimed retaking the regional capital Mekelle. In a statement, Addis Ababa said it was pushing hostilities to prevent disruption to the farming season and allow the distribution of humanitarian aid. The statement on the immediate unilateral ceasefire came shortly after the Tigray interim administration, appointed by the federal government, after routing the Tigray People Liberation Forces fled Mekelle and called for truce in a bid to give way for aid to be delivered. Elsewhere, officials in Tanzania have for the first time revealed some of its statistics about people with coronavirus. President Samia Suluhu Hassan said that 70 Tanzanians with coronavirus are in hospital and are being treated with the herb of oxygen. It should be recalled that her predecessor John Magufuli, who died in office in March a year ago, that the country was free of coronavirus. Tanzania stopped releasing coronavirus figures in May last year when it said there were 509 cases. Speaking on Tuesday, President Samia emphasized that the public should adhere to measures to prevent further instructions. And in Nigeria, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, a separatist group that wants to break away from Biafra state in eastern Nigeria, has been arrested. According to Nigeria's Attorney General Abubakar Malami, Mr. Kanu was arrested with the help of Interpol. The IPOB leader, whose group is prescribed as a terrorist organization by Nigerian authorities, fled the country in 2017 and is facing charges of treasonable felony. His arrest comes after he was caught up in a storm that led to Nigeria's government banning Twitter earlier this month. The government accused the platform of allowing Mr. Kanu to tweet in support of attacks in eastern Nigeria and pushing for secession, which authorities said threatened the country's national security.
Thanks, Fonquinta, for the updates from the African continent. In sports news, Division 1 and 2 Championship in Cameroon may possibly resume full action this weekend throughout the national territory following ongoing talks between the Ministry of Sports and club presidents. In the report that follows, sportsman Henry Wana says the wait is overdue, thus it is time for clubs to return to action. His report.
Some 25 club presidents in both the Elite 1 and 2 championships in Cameroon have been meeting in the nation's political capital Yaoundé to seek a more comfortable date to return to the green turf after more than a month of recess. This move by the club presidents stems from the recent disbursement of over 200 million francs by the Ministry of Sport and Physical Education out of the 560 million francs given to local championships yearly as subvention, a stride not gladly welcomed by the club presidents, who have been contemplating whether or not to collect the 200 million francs and return to the stadium this weekend or wait till the government pays in total the 560 million francs subvention before they could continue the championship. Opinions have been divided. The wait from fans and players have been long overdue, given the new twist in continental assignment where Cameroon is to provide 4 representatives. Yet, our local championships are still to know the champions of the season and the relegated and promoted clubs. Talk less of the series of delayed games on the menu begging for programming. However, the Yaoundé conclave, according to reports, recorded the absence of some club presidents. Whatever be the end result this Tuesday, June 29, which is expected to be a very long day, the authorities parading the soccer corridors as managers must understand that football remains a unifying factor despite the differences in ideas. Thus, it is time to start matching words with actions, considering the fact that Cameroon is considered a footballing nation in the continent, yet its local championships do suffer financial constraints with no regard to numerous talents that exist in the sport discipline.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your kind attention. See you tomorrow, God willing, at 6:30. Fifth Tata BERTRAND coordinated the news produced by EWANE NOLINGA. My name is BLANCHE King. At 7 p.m. Prime Hour will be live. Enjoy today's edition of the program. Happy viewing and good night.